Welcome to the Stop Overdrinking and Start Living podcast, where high-achieving working moms come to learn how to stop overdrinking, reduce overwhelm and anxiety, and show up like the players they were meant to be. I'm your host, Angela Mascenik, and let's dig in. Welcome to episode 50, Why We Don't Stop Overdrinking. Hello, how are y'all? I'm awesome, of course. Happy to be here. I'm so excited about this podcast today. I'm excited about a lot of things, actually. Tomorrow, Wednesday, I'm announcing how you can work with me in 2020. And many of you know that I stopped taking one-on-one private coaching clients a few weeks ago and paused how you could work with me while I created and finished creating my new program starting in January of 2020. So tomorrow is the big reveal. What? And I've got many people signed up to hear the details of that program tomorrow. I know this is a little bit late for you, but if you still wanted to join that Q&A call where I'm announcing all of the juicy details about how you can work with me starting on January 1st, you can still register for my Q&A call on Friday this week, the 13th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. The link to join that call is in the podcast show notes, so make sure if you're interested in that and you feel like now is the time, you want to start the new decade off on the right foot with a coach to help you stop overdrinking, join that call and see how you can join me. It's application only to join my new program, and I'm offering amazing discounts and some freebies during these calls. So if you are feeling inclined to start, please don't wait. Get on that call. Cancel your plans. Go out in your car if you're at work and tell your boss that you have an important phone call to take, and go out there and sit in the car and listen to what I have to say. All right. Things have been awesome for us this weekend. We put up our Christmas tree. We decorated outside of our house. The kids are leading the charge for the holiday spirit, which I love. And they're all so fun. My daughter's 10, my son is 8, and my youngest is 6. And they are just super excited about the holidays. They're super excited about being off from school and seeing their friends. And, you know, they all made their individual presents lists, and it's been really fun. We went to a little local Christmas market this past weekend in Chapel Hill, and they got to walk around and look at all the things and dream, and super fun. I did a really awesome yoga class on Sunday evening with my friend and stretched myself like I haven't been stretched in a long time. It was awesome. I've been lifting weights twice a week and running some long runs. So it felt really, really good to do that. And I feel really good about my physical fitness right now. I am definitely consistently exercising at least 5 days a week, and it's a range. I'm lifting weights twice a week. I'm running 2 or 3 times a week, and then just incorporating this yoga. It's been super awesome. So this week's episode is why people don't stop overdrinking. Why don't we stop overdrinking? And I'm guessing most of you, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably haven't tackled that on your own. You might still be overdrinking. So this definitely applies to you, understanding why we aren't stopping this habit, right? What are your thoughts on why you haven't stopped overdrinking? And right now I want you to pause the podcast, grab a journal or a piece of paper, and actually do this. So if you're driving, feel free to listen to it, but come back and pause this podcast and actually do what I'm suggesting you do. It's going to be very revealing for you. So pause the podcast, go grab a journal or a piece of paper and actually answer these questions. What are your thoughts on why you haven't stopped overdrinking? Why haven't you stopped overdrinking? And I want you to write down just the first automatic thoughts that come up for you. Okay, so pause the podcast, go grab your piece of paper, and then come back. All right, so what did you write down to that question? Why haven't I stopped overdrinking? And I'm guessing it's going to be one of these 5 or 6 thoughts that I'm going to share with you. Was it because it's hard? Did you write that down? Because it's hard to stop overdrinking. Or I don't know how. Or I want to, but then I become weak in the moment and I don't follow through. Or I don't really want to stop. Or I can stop for a while, but then I go back to doing it again. Or I don't want to be boring. Or it's fun to drink. Or I don't have the extra money to pay for help. And I'm sure, or I've guessed at least one reason why you haven't stopped. One of those reasons is what came up for you when I asked you to write down the reasons why you haven't stopped over drinking, right? So now we're going to look at these reasons, and I'm going to break them apart and help you see them for the truth so you can see really why you haven't stopped, and then you can make a better decision to either keep drinking the way you do, which is fine as well, or commit to stop over drinking. So the first reason, I don't want to stop. I want you to challenge this thought, okay? Do you really not want to stop over drinking? Think about that. I'm guessing since you're listening to this podcast called Stop Over Drinking, that there's a part of you that actually really does want to stop over drinking, right? Ask yourself why. Why don't you want to stop doing this? Or better yet, do you like the result that this thought is creating for you in your life? When you think, I don't want to stop, how does that feel? Do you feel complacent? Does it feel like you don't care? Does it feel unmotivated? And what do you do when you feel that way? You probably keep drinking. You probably don't plan your drinks in advance. You probably aren't feeling and processing your urges. You stay doing the same things you've always done, which creates a result for you of I don't stop. I'm still over drinking is the result, right? So if you don't like having that result of being someone who is consistently over drinking, you have to challenge this thought. Ask yourself what you really want. Do you want to stop over drinking? Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. Make your brain tell the truth. Do you want to have a healthier relationship with alcohol? Yes or no? If yes, then you do want to stop over drinking. You have to tell yourself you want to stop more frequently. You have to think intentionally about stopping. Okay? When you find yourself thinking, I don't really want to stop. I do want more. You have to pause there and say, let me really think about that. Do I like being hungover in the morning? Do I like being caught up in this auto repeat cycle? And if you don't, you have to say, I actually do want to stop. I want to stop over drinking. You have to reprogram your brain there. Let's look at another thought you might have, such as, it will be hard. How do you feel when you think, it'll be hard? Is it dread? Is it worry? Does it feel anxious for you? And what do you do when you feel one of those emotions? When I think about something being hard, it brings up like a lot of anxiety because then I picture all of the things that I have to do. And then I'm like, ooh, I don't really want to do that. I don't want to do all that stuff, right? And so then I start overthinking about it. I'm definitely not taking any action towards the thing because I'm so busy thinking about how hard it's going to be, right? And then I may not want to think about it anymore and I might drink or I might eat. I mean, you guys know when I say I might do this, I don't really drink. I don't drink at all anymore. But putting myself in your shoes and how I used to think, this is what would happen for me. So what do you do when you feel anxious about the thought, it will be hard, when you're thinking about stopping over drinking? And what result is that creating for you in your life? If you are anxious and you're overthinking it and you're listing out all the ways it's going to be hard, what aren't you doing? You're not doing it. You're not feeling your feelings. You're not planning your drinks. You're not honoring your commitments to yourself, right? You're not getting coached. You're not coaching yourself. You're not journaling. There's a lot of things you aren't doing. Instead, you're just sort of staying stuck on that cycle of thinking about it being hard. And then you numb out from that because you don't want it to be hard and you want to stop thinking about it so much. So it just keeps you stuck, right? So it will be hard creates a result for you of it being hard, i.e., I'm not doing it, right? So is that thought serving you? Also, think about it this way. Why don't you want it to be hard? Is it easy being someone who overdrinks? We keep doing what we are doing because we think it's easier to just have the drink in the moment versus sitting there with our urges and our feelings and not relieving ourselves from that discomfort. So we drink because we subconsciously think it's easier. But I want you to challenge this idea to think it's easier to drink than to do the work to stop. Is it easier to be hungover in the morning? Is it easy to have regret, shame, and disappointment every time you overdrink? Is it easier to get through the day after a night of horrible sleep and waking up thirsty? Is it easy to manage your household, have an intense job, and then come home and manage the kids and spouse after a night of drinking? Is that easy or hard? The answer to all of these questions is no. It's a strong no. It is not easier. Okay? It's a lie when we say it's easier to drink versus doing the work to stop over drinking. What's easy is not having to deal with over drinking ever. Like, I think it's easy now. It's easy to go to bed at the same time every night and wake up feeling good. It's easy to not drink when you don't want to. But it takes some work to get there. But that work, that hard work that you're actually willing to do, has a payoff in the end. The hard you are experiencing now with over drinking has no upside. It doesn't make you stronger or smarter or more capable. It keeps you stuck, and it's still hard. You see that? So decide it actually isn't easy to stay here where you are. That takes energy and work. But it doesn't serve you with where you want to go, right? You might as well get somewhere with the amount of energy and work you're already putting into it. The difference is that hard in the moment, it's more painful in the moment versus dealing with the pain the next day or so after you drink. Choosing the hard now in the moment, you feel the pleasure tomorrow when you are advancing towards your goals. You can wait until tomorrow to feel the benefit of not drinking now. Yes, you can. You can totally wait. You're not going to die, right? So decide that you don't need it to be easy, that it actually isn't easier to drink. It's hard to stay here. It doesn't feel good. You're still struggling, right? It is hard to be somebody that battles with an overdrinking habit, okay? It's going to be hard to change that habit, yes, but that hard has a payoff. That being willing to feel that hardness and that uncomfortableness in the moment makes it easier in the long run, right? There's no payoff for you choosing the easier way now by choosing drinking. You just get more of the same result, right? But if you choose to be uncomfortable now and choose to believe that it being hard now has a payoff, it actually becomes easier and it changes. If that's what you want, you have to be willing to go through that. The other reason we haven't stopped over drinking is because of this thought of being boring without it. I can't tell you the number of times I hear this every single day. We are so flippin' scared of boredom. Why? Why is this the worst thing to experience? Let's look at this a little bit deeper. What is being boring or feeling boredom? I'm going to describe to you how I feel boredom. Okay, boredom to me feels like slow. It's unexciting. It might feel a little heavy, like there is something weighing me down. My energy is down. I might move a little bit slower. Boredom isn't really a comfortable feeling, and my instinct is to get out of that feeling, to escape it, or change my situation, or to do something more interesting to escape that boredom, right? When you think about how boredom feels in your body, it might be similar to what I just described. So why is that so horrible? Why aren't we willing to be a little boring or to be bored? It's just a little bit of a heavy feeling that we have in our body, right? That's it. If boredom or being bored is one of the reasons you are scared to make changes with your relationship with alcohol, it's not a very compelling reason, my friends. You are allowing a vibration in your body that feels a bit heavy and weighted to prevent you from making changes. You're supposed to feel bored. We wouldn't have that emotion as humans if we weren't supposed to be able to feel it, okay? I want you to think about how being bored could serve you. What would happen if you just allowed yourself to be bored or to appear like a boring person and not drink? What might happen? Maybe your brain could create some interesting ideas. Maybe you wouldn't overdrink. Maybe you might learn how to process and feel your feelings instead of running away from them. Maybe you would try and talk to somebody you normally wouldn't talk to. Maybe you would explore a new hobby or learn how to play guitar, or you might write or paint or take your kid out on an adventure. Boredom can lead to excitement, but first you have to be willing to feel it. Challenge your thoughts about not wanting to be bored, and then let yourself be bored and see what happens for you. The last thought I want to analyze as to why you haven't stopped overdrinking is the thought, I can't pay for help. How do you feel when you think you can't do something? Defeated? Disappointed? And since we know you likely aren't pausing and processing these feelings of defeat or disappointment, especially if you haven't stopped overdrinking, what are you doing? You might drink, you might eat, you might continue doing the same things you're doing. You're not saving money for help or earning more money or getting creative with selling things or getting the money, right? And your result becomes that you don't get help and you stay where you are. Your thoughts about paying for help are not serving you because it's creating more of the same result that you don't want. If you want a different result and you want to have someone help you get there, then how can you think about that differently? The thought, I can't pay for help, is just a thought. It's creating a result of more of the same in your life. If you think you can't do something, then you probably won't do it. What if you thought you could pay for it, even if you don't have the money earmarked in your bank account or you haven't saved for it? What if you thought, I want to pay for it, let me figure this out? When you think those thoughts, you become curious and open. And then your actions from that place might be to start saving the money, going into your closet, selling your shoes, your designer clothes on eBay, or deciding to cut back on your manicures or your Botox, or getting your hair professionally colored, or buying expensive makeup, or going out to dinner and to lunch, or spending money on alcohol that you actually don't want. There is always a way to figure out how to buy something if you really want it. But when our brain delivers these thoughts like, I can't afford it, or I can't pay for it, or I would never pay that amount, then you never will. Challenge those thoughts, especially if you actually do want to stop over drinking and you haven't accomplished that yet. If you've been trying and doing some of the things I've been sharing and recommending and you aren't further along and you want my help, thinking about paying for coaching from a place of it's always figure outable, there's always a way, versus I can't, will help you get the results you want in your life versus staying here on auto repeat. Think about the last time you spent a large amount of money. Was it buying a car, a house, a vacation, hiring a personal trainer, furniture, college tuition for your kids, your own school fees for something? How did you figure out how to pay for those things? Did you have the money saved in a special savings account? I'm guessing not. But you wanted those things, so you figured out the money, right? Maybe you used an interest-free credit card, or maybe you financed your car. Maybe you financed your home or your education. How do you pay for smaller things such as your wine or alcohol habit? Manicures, haircuts, clothes, lunches, dinners, shoes, your iPhone. Thinking you can't pay for help for 95% of you is a total lie. Stop telling yourself this. Start telling yourself you can. And if you don't know how, this second you are willing to figure it out and watch your brain go to work for you. In closing, the reason we haven't stopped over drinking comes down to what we are thinking. Remember, our thoughts create our results. If you are over drinking, you have to look at how you are thinking. Your current thoughts have led you to have this current result of being an overdrinker. My job is to help you see how your thoughts are creating results for you. Then you get to choose if you want to keep thinking those thoughts or not. And then I'll help you think in a way that helps you get a result that you actually want to have. If you want to stop over drinking, you are in the right place. I'm opening up my new coaching program for 2020, and you can join to learn about that program and what that entails by registering for the call that I'm having on Friday the 13th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. get over to the website page of the podcast and register to join the live Q&A call. I would love to have you. I would love to help you change your thoughts and to change your relationship with alcohol. See you there. Bye for now.